Story 1. This might be longer than necessary, but I think context is important. About 10 years ago, my then girlfriend cheated on me. It was devastating to me at the time because I had basically no self-esteem. She was the only concrete thing I had to hold on to. The affair was off and on for 6 months, during which I did some things I am not proud of. Following her, gaining access into her social media, etc. Eventually she decided to move out of state to be with family, and the affair effectively ended. We began talking again, and I, maybe foolishly, got back together with her and moved out of state to be with her. I can honestly say the first 8 years after moving to be with her were some of the best of my life so far. I felt like we were closer and we could trust each other. We had occasional arguments, but nothing out of the ordinary for a long-term relationship. Crap started getting weird again last summer. I discovered some strange search histories on her iPad. Searches such as "Why did he ghost me?" "How to says," "Why do guys says?" When I confronted her, she claimed her work husband sent her a says, and she just did some curious Googling. She claims to have turned him down, and I wanted to believe her because I had honestly not been suspicious of her at all in the last 10 years. A month later, I was still suspicious and eventually broke down and looked at her Facebook messages. She had messaged this work husband a lot. Nothing seemed to be going on between them, but she did claim to have had says with some guy that was not me. This guy had no name, but he supposedly expressed his love for her after says, and she was asking work husband for relationship advice. I don't think this mysterious lover exists, but why make up some story about your sexual escapades with a non-existent person? When confronted, she said it was for attention, and she has lied for attention in the past. Doesn't make what she did okay, but I wanted to work on things because I know she has self-esteem issues that probably led to this. And our relationship has been getting much better since then. Then this month she took a sudden interest in a new multiplayer video game. Not suspicious on its own. She plays video games but generally plays them very casually without devoting a lot of time to learning one game. Suddenly she needed to play this game upstairs in the bedroom with the doors closed when she usually plays games downstairs with me. When I asked why, she freaked out, got emotional, angry, was on the verge of tears. Said she just wanted a space to herself and never gets alone time, and she does work a lot. That explanation would have been fair, but it was her emotional reaction that made me suspicious. To be fair, I made a jab that she was playing with her new boyfriend because I was paranoid. I expected her to be annoyed at my jab, but this was close to an emotional breakdown. While I have occasionally been paranoid because she has cheated on me before, I wasn't truly suspicious until the emotional outburst. Which then made a lot of other things from the past 6 months seem more suspicious in hindsight. She deleted her Facebook to get off social media, but she is still constantly on her phone. It's mostly TikTok, but she has been spending a lot more time upstairs in the bedroom on her phone taking pictures in the mirror. She says this is to boost her self-esteem and give her some me time. Totally understandable considering what I know about her struggles with image and self-esteem. But now it feels like she deleted Facebook so that somebody could not easily find out she was married to me. And maybe all those pictures aren't just for her self-esteem. She doesn't seem protective of her phone. I know the password. But there are a million ways to hide messages and dirty pictures. Snapchat comes to mind. There's just no way for me to know short of installing some sort of spyware on her phone, and I don't have time for that. I did the stalking thing 10 years ago. Never again. If I feel the need to stalk, I am done. I don't care if she is ducking around. I don't need the mental anguish. She always sends me pictures when she stays at her sister's house to assure me she is there, when I did not think she was there. Like she suspects I'm suspicious when I'm not. And it seems she is now hiding her Steam friends list when she wasn't previously. Probably would never have noticed if it wasn't for her emotional reaction that made me check. After that wall of text, what I am ultimately asking is, should I confront her with the paltry amount of evidence I have, or just tell her I think we are done? Part of me wants her to just admit to something going on and try to work through it in counseling. The other part of me is screaming, run the duck away. You did this already. The part that wants to run away doesn't even want to have the conversation about a possible affair. I just want to say we grew apart. Enjoy the rest of your life. Any recommendations? What the duck is a work husband? Your situation sounds terrible. It might feel to you like you're with her for a long time, but you're only 32 and have plenty of time ahead. Leave. That's just a term people use for coworkers they get along the most, and since they spent working hours, at the very least 8 hours a day, together, which totally almost rivals the time spent at home with your partners, it kind of becomes a term of endearment. I've heard many stories about either work husbands or work wife, and yeah, sometimes they can be problematic. I totally agree with you. OP needs to leave ASAP. Thanks for telling me. I've never heard of it. In my opinion. Run. Lying regularly for attention. Cheating, even if it was only emotionally, which I doubt, both unacceptable things in a relationship. Move on, dude. Spot on. I personally believe she lied to work husband about sleeping with a made-up man to show work husband that she's willing to have an affair/step out on her husband. Story 2. Wow, still feels weird being here on a throwaway account to ask for advice here, but I don't have many people in my life who relate to my scenario at hand. For lack of knowing where to truly start, I'm gonna dive in and try not to bounce around too much. Thanks in advance if you rough this out. My 28 male wife, 26 female, had a drunken ONS last month, and I found out just Sunday. Now we have been married not even a year but have been together for 10 years. We have 2 children together, 6, 2. I've asked all the details, I'll spare you them, but it was a completely random pair off and there's been zero contact since. My wife had a good friend going through a separation in our hometown, and my wife and daughter went back for the weekend to console her. Long story short, the ladies got a sitter for the kids and went out for some drinks. Ended up leaving with a few guys they know to go to a hot tub. My wife ends up sleeping with one of them and her friend another. Now outside of her and her friend discussing possibly trying again the next night and my wife reaching out to the man asking for discretion, there was never anything else said or done between them. Fast forward a month later, when she returned from the trip of the ONS, she had seemed a little off, but we've been working through some things. I'm not perfect, so I thought nothing of it. Well, last week a dear friend of mine was in town and we went together to see him and some other friends. Well, one night out we ran into one of the guys who was there the night of the ONS. I noticed him gravitating towards my wife and sensed a smugness when he talked to me. Again, thought nothing of it. My wife is attractive and rather friendly when drunk. But for some reason I couldn't shake this feeling, so I took the low road and read through her messages. I saw a message between her and her friend from the night at the bar about how the guy we ran into was making comments. I then searched back a little further and found all the evidence I needed to know from the night of the affair. I decided I couldn't sleep on it that night and confronted her after we put the kids to bed. I understand that going through her phone is wrong, admittedly I've done it before. And it's a source of one of our issues we've been working through. But I found what I feared. She had cheated. And tried to cover it up. I'm broken, I'm confused, I'm angry, I'm sad, I'm not sure entirely what I am. I feel ashamed and not good enough. Now where it gets more complicated, we have sort of an open relationship. We have had many three-way and I have openly allowed her to pursue sex with other men as long as I'm involved. So I can't fathom why she needed this ONS. I'm sure some of my toxic behaviors contributed to pushing her to that edge, but I still can't believe she took the jump. Now we spent most of the week just really diving in. And I've decided I want to stay. I'm not ready to not have my children every day, and I ultimately love her more than anything and don't want to lose her either. It just all feels so unfair and unreasonable. How do I begin to move towards allowing her to regain my trust and also working to better myself as to be a better husband? How do I begin to move forward and find a way to get past the shame I feel for wanting to try and work this out? Sorry, this is a mess and I hope to be able to reel it in more and have good discussions here. Are you trying to say your mistrust of her and looking at her phone and being paranoid led her to have an affair? Holy crap, you've been gaslighted into apologizing to her for the affair. She basically just lost all privacy privileges if you're really going to make this work. You're about to become hyper-paranoid because she is now an unsafe partner and your anxiety will be triggered by any little thing she does that seems suspicious. She is the one that needs to change. Her honesty and ability to take responsibility for her actions is what is in question. Does she feel remorse? You need to provide consequences to make sure she understands that you don't accept what she's done and that if it ever happens again you will walk. She likely needs to not hang out with this friend anymore as she helped her cover it up and make it happen. She is an enemy to your marriage. I think for the time being you will need to fully close your marriage as well. I agree. And the result of your paranoia will in fact harm the kids, seeing their dad lose it at times when you just cannot get the courage to trust, even if she is not messing around. Can't upvote this enough. Trust is a two-way street. She is selfish. You have an open relationship and she doesn't even have the respect for you to inform you before she does it. This is beyond messed up. All open relationships are doomed to end up this way. Especially in marriage. He's just lucky to have found out. He should continue what he started or get out and start a real relationship, not this sham. You have an open relationship and she still cheated? Dude. She has checked out. Time to count your losses and move on. Contact a lawyer. Protect your assets and get the hell out of Dodge. This so hard. Even in an open relationship lying is wrong. Especially in your case where she allowed the guy to disrespect you. I know some people feel like looking through a phone is an invasion, but I think it's situational. If you constantly do it, it's a problem. If there is reason to check and you find evidence, then I don't see the problem. So checking and finding is not a fault on your end in my opinion. What was her explanation? Why did she let him disrespect you without coming clean? Well, my friend, two things. 1. You didn't push her to anything. Absolutely nothing justifies what she did. She lied, she betrayed you and tried to cover it up. 2. Since you decided to stay and reconcile, you need to put consequences for her actions. Harsh ones. Otherwise you will only validate her behavior and encourage her to cheat on your back again because she knows she can get away with it. What I would suggest is a postnup in which she relinquishes any financial rights such as alimony or pension in case of further infidelity. Also push for full custody of the kids in the postnup. That friend of hers is not to be contacted from now on because she was a facilitator and an accomplice. Whatever crap she says, stand firm. It's either you or that friend. If she keeps contact in any manner, you are out. I would also suggested she not being allowed to go out for parties and friends without you anymore. Sounds harsh, but what she did was unforgivable and she must understand the gravity of her actions. Good luck. Worldwide comments of the day. If the other person in the relationship has significant mental issues, leave them behind. You don't want to deal with all that crap. Upset with him not being there for the daughter but then steps out of the wild marriage to be free. People need to stop making their problems other people's fault. Midlife crises ain't no joke. Wow. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more interesting and relatable Reddit videos.